Hi everyone, this is Karen and Angela, your resident practicing hypnotherapists, and we're back again for another what happened there? What happened to my teeth? We're back for another podcast perspective.
We are.
So today we're going to chat about financial anxiety and how this can manifest itself. And it's really key, I think, really topical at the moment, because the cost of living crisis that's going on, it's not just in this country, it's abroad as well, and it's affecting so many people, isn't it? And some of those will be experiencing really high levels of financial stress and financial anxiety.
And for the purposes of this podcast, I can't speak either.
What's happening to us today?
We're really doing this on the wrong day. Financial anxiety is basically an overwhelming feeling of worry, of stress and of unease about your financial situation. In terms of it being labelled anxiety, it's very similar to other types of anxiety that can crop up for a myriad of other reasons. However, the thoughts are specifically around finance and about how this is affecting you or your life.
Yeah.
So, for example, the recent rise in inflation and in interest rates, which has knocked onto mortgage repayments, is dreadfully worrying, particularly for young families or people perhaps running a mortgage on one income. Really difficult to absorb. Everything goes up, doesn't it? I filled my car up with petrol this morning, and every time I go it seems to cost more than the last time I did it.
Yeah.
Food costs, electricity and heating, obviously we're all really aware of that. Although thank goodness we're actually coming into this slightly warmer weather, which hopefully will be a bit less stressful for people. And it's just generally led people to need to take stock, to look at their outgoings, and some people are worrying to the high point of anxiety due to this situation.
Yeah.
You know, things like, I can't believe I spent all that money on the credit card, the credit card, how am I going to pay it off? We're going to have to sell the house in the worst of cases maybe, and we can't afford the mortgage. And people are reporting that they're having to choose between heating and eating.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think it's probably worth mentioning as well that actually financial anxiety doesn't always affect people who don't have much money.
Mm-hmm.
So it can also affect people who may appear to have more money, but they're still worried. They still have this anxiety around how they're going to manage it.
Yeah.
You know, what's going to happen with it. So it is probably more worrying for people that have less, but it's still there even when people have money.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because actually you may look as if you're very affluent, but actually there still could be a lot of costs associated with or maintaining that lifestyle that not everybody has visibility of.
No,
so I think,
right.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
And it can be really serious stuff and cause major feelings of anxiety. So people can experience things like palpitations and panic attacks. They can get stomach aches, pains in their stomachs, and just sort of sweating, all of those things that we associate with anxiety anyway, because our brains can go into fight, flight or freeze mode. And because of that, that's when we get these feelings. So, I mean, what sorts of things can we do? So we think about this.
Maybe practical help first, and then what we would do as therapists.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think in terms of practical help, it's really helpful if you can sit down and really try and work out what it is that's causing the anxiety. Because it might be different, it'll be different for some people. You need to work with it to find a workable solution. So is it your day-to-day living? Is that what is causing the anxiety? Is it hand to mouth? You don't know where you're going to get the next money from, and that's what's causing it. Or is it sort of over the lifetime and retirement finances? Because some people really worry about the future. They may be all right at the moment, but they're thinking, what am I going to do, in 10 years' time? If I don't have a job, will I have the money to support myself? What can I do? So I think there are places you can go. So there's the Citizens Advice Bureau that you can go to. There's a lot of information on that online.
Yes.
Because I think they're not as easy to access in terms of the old buildings that we used to be able to go into years ago.
That's changed, hasn't it?
It's changed a lot, yeah. And then they recommend the Money Helper. So there's a online money guidance, and we can put these links.
Yes.
We can add these links to the podcast so that people can find them. And a lot of us, many of us will have heard of Martin Lewis, the money saving expert. And actually his website is really full of great hints and help out there. He's actually really fantastic, and I love the way he works to try and support everybody.
I love how responsive he is. We're now at the point when there's a budget and he's on almost immediately, isn't he, advising people in practical ways how they'll be effective.
But what's really good about him as well is he also sets boundaries. So he does all of this work, but I follow him on Twitter, and very often he will say, I'm off now. You won't see me on here for 3 or 4 days. He sets his boundaries. And I think from a therapist's point of view,
we love that, don't we?
We do. We love that. We love people to set their boundaries and so that they can refuel and be there to be able to give their all.
Everybody's got to take care of their mental health, haven't they?
Yeah.
Okay, and just on the subject of that, really, I just wanted to sort of make clear for anyone that's listening is, obviously once you're going in for any sort of financial advice or guidance, there's just a few caveats I think we need to put around that. So for example, charities, and we've just talked about, and organisations like Citizen Advice, they will offer you financial guidance. And that's very different to financial advice. And so you just need to be aware which it is you're being offered, because it's whether or not it's regulated, it's whether or not the advice is across a range of products, or whether the person giving you advice is tied to a particular business or provider. So just do make sure you're doing your research, and just, be really clear about who you're listening to and who you're taking advice from.
And clear about your situation, so that those people that you're speaking to can actually give you the best guidance or advice for you.
Absolutely. So it's just a word of caution there, really, not in any way to reflect on the two organisations, particular or Martin Lewis that you mentioned, but just across the broader sphere of people that we might engage with.
Yeah, definitely. And you can ask them. You can ask the organisation, can't you? You can ask them to explain themselves, to explain what it is that they're telling you.
We've already said most people have an online presence, do a bit of research behind the scenes before you talk to them or whatever. Yeah. So that's practical.
That's practical help,
But of course, we're therapists, aren't we?
We are. With our other hats, we are definitely therapists. Yes. And so in terms of well-being and emotional support, what sorts of things would we do? I mean, I would certainly say, first of all, if you are struggling emotionally, if you're struggling mentally, with this, then seek professional help, either through your GP or through local therapists. Always look at the associations that your therapists are with, make sure that they're bona fide associations and organisations. But in terms of hypnotherapy, so maybe we can have a sort of a little chat about this. Where we can help, what would we do? I mean, certainly relaxation techniques.
Absolutely.
Really helpful.
I'd be thinking about sleep as well. The quality of your sleep and in fact the recharging you can get overnight is really important when you're in a stressful or an anxious state, I think. Yeah.
And do you think that there's more than relaxation that can help with enhancing your sleep?
I'm a great fan of doing positive thinking before bed. I mean, I get you every week, don't I, with what's been good, and I've given you a heads up that it's happening shortly.
Oh, I know it's coming.
But have you done any homework is the question, and if you have, will you remember it? But I think there's a whole thing about trying to go to bed in a positive mindset, even at the end of a long and difficult day. A lot of people like to journal, for example, don't they? They will do that before they go to bed. So I think those sorts of things can contribute to the quality of your sleep as well. I quite often listen to people's hypnotherapy trances because I know that prepares every brain for effective sleep, and that's something that you and I use all the time with clients, isn't it? So I think those are positive. But I think there's loads of free stuff as well. I mean, I still spend a lot of time listening to things on YouTube, meditations or mindfulness, or even sort of the brown and the white noise that you can listen to. I think anything that helps still your mind is beneficial. My take on it.
And then you've got things like breathing techniques. You've got doing techniques like future positive visualization. So thinking about your future and imagining what it will be like in a positive way. Seeing if there's something that you want to do, if you want to feel calmer about your financial situation, to actually visualise yourself or imagine. Some people aren't able to visualise, but most of us can close our eyes and something is there.
Yes.
Even, you can use the word imagery or sensations that you might feel to help you to get into that positive frame of mind. And then there are other sort of relaxation techniques like the havening technique, which you can Google the havening technique. And part of it is stroking your arms. So with the opposite hand on the opposite arm, just stroking upwards on your upper arm can be really soothing. It's a really soothing technique.
I always think that's a bit like having a hug, isn't it? Really.
It is.
Although I know the upward movement is important, but it is. I
Like-
get the benefits of a hug as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then sort of reframing those negative thoughts, which is what we were talking about, what you were saying earlier about having all those positive thoughts. They're things that you can do. And these are all techniques that you can do at home, you can do on your own, that actually you don't need necessarily a therapist to help you to do it. You can find these things online, you can find them, like you say, on YouTube, and watch and learn on those.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff out there that you can access for free if you're willing to do the research, isn't there?
Yeah,
there really is. Okay, so some great stuff there, but I'd say depending on the level of the anxiety, it might well be that you do need some kind of intervention as well.
Yeah.
And you have to be the judge on how you feel, and you have to be honest with yourself about that, don't you, as well?
Yeah, definitely.
I think the other thing I would just say as a hypnotherapist, and I think this is generally true whether you're talking about financial anxiety or other stress, anxiety indicators in life, is we can't change what will happen to us. We can't change how our life is, but what we can change is how we react to it.
Yes.
And that's so important in your mindset. People could have, you and I could have the same life event happen to us, and we could go through it and feel very different ways through it.
Very different.
And yet the severity of the life event could be the same.
Yes.
It could be something that we are both sharing and going through, but it's your own ability to respond and to cope with it that is so important. And I believe very firmly that hypnotherapy does give you extra capacity. It frees capacity in your head to cope when we're going through a stressful,
I completely agree with that.
time.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any other wise words about financial anxiety?
About financial anxiety.
Or shall we move
No,
on to?
I don't think so. I'd just like to say that if it is how you feel, then really do get help, because there is help out there.
Absolutely.
So it is about actually finding that help.
You
are not alone.
Start with your GP or some of the, people like the Samaritans. So even if you just need to talk, there are a lot of people out there who genuinely want to help.
And the great thing about the Samaritans is it's anonymous, so you can talk.
There's no
and talk
judgment.
There's
Talk
no judgment
until you have no words left. But sometimes that's what people need. Okay.
This is the favourite part of the podcast for you, isn't it, Karen?
Just mine. I wish our listeners could see you squirm. So, Angela, I'm going to ask you, this week, what's been good?
What's been good this week? Oh, well, the sun's out today. That's good.
Beautiful day.
Lovely.
Beautiful.
And yesterday I did a lot of gardening.
Okay.
So it was really nice.
My garden could do with some attention if you're not busy over the next couple of days. No? Okay. Brilliant. I like both of those. And I need to do the garden myself. What else has been good?
What else has been good? So, well, to be honest, I've had a really productive week this week. So everything that I've needed to get done, I've got done.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, that's great.
Yeah.
That's not just good. That's great.
Yeah.
Because it's all it's all done and dusted.
So do you feel you're going into a couple of days off over the Easter break with a clear sheet?
That's exactly how.
Because that definitely enhances, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yes,
they're
really
quite good, and I'd like one more.
One more. So what's another thing? So another thing that's good is that I have booked a few days to go and see my sister.
Oh, your lovely sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am really, really happy about that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Good.
It'll be great.
Excellent list. I like them all.
So now, back to you, Karen.
Yeah.
Have you been thinking about this?
Only a little bit, because I have been concentrating on what I was saying. So the bits when I wasn't concentrating was when I fluffed my words.
We all laugh at work.
This time we have. Yes, Angela.
So come on then, tell me, what are you grateful for? What do you feel positive about this week?
Okay, so the first one I'm going to say is not a conventional one, but actually I did start this week with some particular challenges, which we don't need to go into, just some things that I was struggling with.
Yeah.
But through the week, I am generally very happy and very grateful that I've managed to control, manage, compartmentalise and process and deal with all of those things. So I'm ending the week in a much happier place than I started it. And
That's brilliant.
you know, that's what we teach our clients to do. So very important to be able to do it for yourself, isn't it?
And did you use your hypnotherapy knowledge and techniques to do that?
I find that you do it almost automatically. It does become a way of thinking and a way of living, doesn't it, when you work with it all the time. So yes, absolutely I did, and I'm here to say that they all worked. So thank goodness for that.
Yeah. I'm really pleased to hear that.
Yeah, you did hear some of it on Tuesday, didn't you?
So come on, let's have some more.
Okay, what else? Like you, I've really loved the sunshine this week.
It's wonderful, isn't it?
I've got all my washing and ironing done from Malta, my holiday last week, so that's good. And I'm meeting up with some very lovely friends later on today as well.
Oh, how lovely.
So I'm looking forward to that too. So and I've got a couple of days off, and it's just nice, isn't it? I like this time of year.
Yeah.
It's a time to start feeling happy and hopeful for most people, isn't it? So
It really is. It gives us hope.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my list.
That's fantastic. Good for you. Is there anything else?
Happy Karen, do you want another one?
I'd love another one if you can think of one.
Get your own tricks. Okay, what else am I happy and
I'm learning
grateful
from you.
for? Oh, see, this is it now. I've got a primitive brain and I can't think. Come on, Karen, there must be more. Oh, I've got an Easter egg.
Have you?
Yes, I have.
Oh my goodness. Do you know what sort it is?
No, I just know it's in the cupboard. And that I will be eating it in the next couple of days.
You're very lucky. I don't have an Easter egg actually. I do have some hot cross buns. And I love hot cross buns.
Yeah, I love hot cross buns.
Yeah.
Toasted, of course.
Of course.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
So happy to
Thought we
have
couldn't be
those.
friends any longer. But you got the right answer.
Glad I got that right, everybody.
You.
Yeah. Well, this might be the last podcast.
Well, yeah, because we've had a big falling out. If she doesn't toast her hot cross buns, it's trouble. Let's not even talk about Stone's Cram and Jean.
Go to me scones.
Yes, and cream and jam. That's exactly what I meant. Let's not talk about that anymore.
No. We'll save that for summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or not.
Or not.
Okay. So, well, I hope our listeners enjoyed that.
Yeah.
We
And obviously you can contact us as well if there's anything that,
Yeah,
you know, if there's any questions that you've got.
specific queries or anything you think we could help with. We're
Yeah.
always happy to do
You
that.
can always contact us directly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Great.
Shall I press the stop record button then?
Well, maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll look forward to
Yeah, we'll talk to you
speaking
again
everyone again soon.
Stay well. Happy Easter. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.